All things new. I would like for you to observe the following articulations and mark your scores. So this one at the bottom here, this is where soprano and alto only come in. So soprano and alto only, basses, tenors, don't get to sing here. Notice there is a crescendo marking. And so when you see this, for those of you that haven't studied music, when you see this like an opening, it's like we always think of it as a mouth opening. That means crescendo, and that means to gradually get louder. Okay, so you grow in the sound. And they do that a lot in this song because you're holding these dotted half notes a lot, which get 3 beats. So instead of just kind of fading away, you're going to grow in the sound, and that will help sustain the tone. So we have a crescendo here. Now, as you finish this darkness, there is a comma after darkness, and you'll need a breath before you move on to the next page. So we'll cut off on beat 4. All right, so that would be, I'll sing it an octave. Light after darkness. Like that. 1, 2, 3. After darkness, off. Okay, so you can have time to breathe, and I will cut you off because that is an S there, so we can all end together whenever there is a consonant like that has a tendency to make a lot of sound, not everyone singing it together. Then we will need to have a cutoff. All right, so then the next page. Let's see. These are not aligning. Okay, so the next page here at the word loss, here is another dotted half note. So 3 beats, but this time, see, the mouth is closing, and so that is a decrescendo, which means to gradually get softer. So you do kind of fade on this one, and we cut off. Right, we have that rest, so we'll cut off at the end of 3. And also, decrescendo is another word for it, but some people use the word diminuendo, and they'll put like dim above or something like that. And so, but they are the same. Okay, then tenor bass comes in, and this is measure 9. You can see the little measure numbers down below. I always mark mine above. So just tenor bass, and here we have a dotted half note here for 3 beats. So we're going to grow. That's a crescendo. So if you'll mark that, and however you want to, I mean, if you need to write the words get louder, that's fine. But we have lots of those in here, so don't make your music too busy with lots of instructions. So that's why we have symbols, but just know that this is a crescendo mark, and just bring your attention to that. Okay, now also we have a comma here, and you will need a breath probably at the end of this phrase. So like with the soprano and altos, you will cut off right on beat 4 so that you can come in on crown after crown. And when you listen to the recording, you don't hear a cutoff, and it does sound like they sing straight through. And I'll cut you off like for and, like on the and of 4. But we do need to get to that S altogether and end it quickly. And this is 2 beats, so nes, 1 or 3, 4. That's the beat 3 and then you hold it out for 4. And then to get to the word crown. All right. And then here again, at the end of your phrase, you have a decrescendo, so gradually get softer. Okay, next page. This is page 4. Let me see, line up my frame here. Okay, so this is everyone, and soprano and alto on top staff, tenor, bass, share the bass, clef. All right, so we have a crescendo here, so mark that. We're holding that dotted half note again. And no instructions for bitter. And make sure that we do pronounce that as bitter, bitter, not bitter, bitter, and get rid of that American R, so bitter. And then we will breathe here at the end of that. There's a comma after that, and hope after fears. And here's another little decrescendo. I'm not worried about the decrescendos as much as I am the crescendos, because when the purpose of these, like I mentioned, was to bring to keep this dotted half note from dying, and to keep your intonation, meaning not singing flat by the time you get to the end of the 3 beats. Okay. So down here at 17, measure 17, this is another crescendo, so you mark that. And then you'll need a breath after wandering, so we'll cut off on beat 4 right here. And I thought about showing my copy, and but it's just easier to do this. So you can mark these. Mark the breath. Normally we use like little commas for breath, or you can just put a B if you want for breath, or whatever reminds you, BR, whatever reminds you to take your breath. But it is indicated by a little comma mark. And you'll see some later on in this. Okay, let me line this up. Not sure why this is not. I need to make this a little better. All right, this is page 5. And let me get my page here. So here we have on tiers, we have a couple things. We have the decrescendo marking here, and then a poco ritardando, which means slow down a little. And so we'll be slowing down and getting softer at the same time. And that is a quarter rest, so we'll need to be cut off on tiers by the end of beat 3. And to acknowledge that rest. So please mark that. And then when we get here, this is measure 21. And a tempo just means to return to the original tempo. So up here we have slowed it down a little bit, but then we pick it back up with soprano and alto singing, to sing the alpha and omega section here. And then we continue that. You do have a little decrescendo there. I'm not really worried about that. And then tenor bass comes in here, and you cut off at the end of beat 2 because we have a 2-beat rest there. So you'll cut off on the end of 2. All right, and the next page is page 6. See if I can get all of these in here. Nope. Okay, my copy is not so clear here. Springs of Living. This is page 6. Sopranos, I do want to mark here, want you to mark here to, especially second sopranos, and you're clashing with the first sopranos as they move up and hold the note, you will stay the same on each tier. Is there a tier? Yeah, tier. Wash away each tier, sorry. And and then you step down. So this is a clash here. And so I don't want you to listen to the first sopranos, because it'll make you just sing what they're singing. So be independent and sing the same note each tier and then step down. All right. And then when you get down here, second sopranos, you'll be going up a third here, and you're gonna you will move down there, and then first sopranos hold it. They'll be holding that F sharp on the top there. Okay, let's back up and talk about dynamics. Here is just moderately loud, so that's not that big of a difference in what we normally do. But down here we have a crescendo, and by the time we get to new, we are singing forte, which means loud. And then we'll die off a little bit. There's just a little bit of a diminuendo there, a decrescendo, when we're moving on that last little beat there. And we have this rest here, and that's a good chance to for everybody to end, and for the altos to be able to take a good breath before they come in on page 7. They're leading us. He is making all things new. And so as they come in here, the tenor and basses come in with them on all things. And here is another poco ritardando, which means to slow down just a little. And so we'll slow down, and then we'll die. This note will decrescendo, and then but we return to the original tempo. And so Ashley will be playing this accompaniment in the original tempo. Okay, and then when we get to page 8, we have another crescendo here on the word sight, and we have here's a good distinct breath mark for the altos, tenor, and basses. Okay, so make sure you take that breath before you sing "Oh Sun." Okay, mystery, breathe, oh sun, oh sun. So that's what a breath mark looks like. So it is kind of like a little apostrophe or a little comma, however you want to think of that. All right, and then page 9, we have a decrescendo here on rain, and then sopranos, you get 2 measures break, and you come in on the word peace. All right, so but the alto, tenor, bass continue that phrase, that line with joy after sorrow, and then we'll be taking a breath there at the end of this 4th beat on sorrow, and then peace after pain on the next page. So, and you always hear don't breathe in the middle of a phrase, but these are long phrases. the tones are very sustained. So, and professional singers, opera singers, they do it all the time. They can hold their notes a long time. So, with a lot of breath support. So, but we're not going to take that chance. We're going to take our breaths when we can. All right. So, let's see, peace, and then page 10 is, sorry about that. All right, we have 2 breath marks here in the alto and the tenor. Make sure you acknowledge those. We have a bunch of, like, everybody's kind of getting softer, these decrescendo markings. And then here on now, we're going to grow, we're going to crescendo on the word now. And make sure soprano and bass, you come in clearly on near. Alto and tenor are holding this after pain phrase. And then we're all together on after here. And then you've got down here, we've got more breath marks for the altos right here, tenors here, basses. That's a rest. Well, these are eighth rest, sorry. But still, it's a place for you to take a little pause there. And if you breathe, that's fine. If you have the time to breathe. So, but these are, I know they look like little breath marks, and mine is very tiny as I'm looking at this on the screen. So, but when I look at my score, I can see that they are an eighth rest, which means that you pause for an eighth of a beat, or a half of a beat, sorry. It's an eighth rest, but you only pause for half of a beat, so half of one. And let's see. So everyone, the altos and tenors are together in your rhythm here, but everybody is together by the time you get to gleam. And they don't have a crescendo marking here, but make sure you carry that out. So, draw an arrow to after. There's no breath after that, so we have to keep that continuous. So keep that moving. Gleam after. All right. Because we go right to the word gloom, and here we have decrescendo up here, lots of decrescendos drawn in, and then the same little pattern where the alto and tenors have breath marks. All right. And so alto and tenor, you will kind of keep this momentum going. Don't breathe after oh love, just go right into love when the tenor when the soprano and the basses join you. And on love we crescendo. Let me slide this up a little bit. On the word love, and then we go down to loneliness. We're going to breathe there at the end of 4, and let me slide this up some. Everybody is together here, and then you'll breathe there before the word life. And after they don't have a crescendo here, but make sure you sustain this tone here. Life after. Don't let it die down. All right. And then page 12. Here we have a decrescendo on this word tomb, and then we also have a little bit of slowing down here as we carry that through, and that's mainly for the accompaniment here. We'll slow down, and we just kind of hold that out. And then we go back to the original tempo here when soprano and alto sing alpha and omega again. And then tenor bass. Soprano and alto, I want you to cut off on beat 4. So have an eighth rest. We'll have here. I don't want this drawn out. I want this cut off completely before they come in. The tenor basses come in with he is making. Okay, so I'll have to cut you off and then bring in the tenor basses. So we'll have a little bit of a rest here at the end, not carry it through. And then on the next page, tenor bass, you only hold this for 2 beats. the word new for 2 beats, and then you'll cut off here. So at the end of 2. All right. Now, when we get to Springs of Living Water, notice that tenors, be ready, mark this, that you come in. And so you're just going to count 1, 2. You're going to count 2 beats here. So you've got 2 beats here, and then 2 more beats. So new, 3, 4, 1, 2, Springs of Living Water. So you're different. You're the different rhythm, and the words are different, placed differently, the phrasing. So make sure you mark that and you sing out on that so we can hear that contrast for tenor. We have a crescendo here at the bottom, but we slow down some. There's a ritardando. And we slow this down, and we grow in the sound, crescendo, and then by the time we get to page 14, we are loud on new. So please mark that, know that we're going to be, by that point, we should be nice and loud. And then alto and basses this time will sing alone in a little duet, All Things New, kind of like a little afterthought there. And everybody has, and this is a little softer, this is decrescendo, and then we have a rest, a quarter rest there, full beat. Let's see, okay, I slid it up, but this is measure 59 here on that same page. Okay, so here, just poco minimoso, just it's a little less motion, so basically kind of slowing it down. You've got the, and it's, not too loud. It's a mezzo piano, moderately soft here for the altos to sing this, but just, it's like taking your time, basically, not rushing this. Even though, you've got all of these eighth notes, sometimes we have a tendency to rush and speed up on eighth notes. So they want you to, not so much motion, just keep it steady and slow it down a little bit. And then sopranos come in, he is making all. And then everybody on the last page, let me see if I can line this up. This is page 15. Here we've just got a measure of 2/4, and he is making, this is all soft piano, and don't forget to hold that, all things new, and then off. Kind of an anticlimactic ending, but for this song, I think. But who am I to question the composer? So okay, so if you will mark your scores with those, that will be very helpful when we have rehearsal, and I won't have to go through those and remind you when to crescendo and decrescendo and when to breathe. Okay, all right, thank you.